Hello, this is the first in a series of tutorial videos that I'm going to make on how to download images from the Hubble archive and turn them into a nice color image of your own. So the first step here is just dealing with the website and the archive itself and finding something appropriate. So I will post the link to the site itself in the comments, but here I have the page up. I've enlarged it a little bit so you can see it better, but basically just at the top, you can just enter in the name of something where it says enter target, and it'll sort of look for that. And it even has a show examples button that will give you some ideas maybe of things to look for. Common names of things work. If you know the name of a nebula, you can just look it up. There's a random search actually, which occasionally shows interesting things. It seems to, when I've tried it, show a lot of star clusters. Sometimes it shows other things that there's not a lot of images for, but sometimes you come up with something interesting. But let me actually go through here and I'll just select one of these examples, the antennae galaxies. These are distant galaxies that are interacting and they look like a pair of antennae. So I'm going to use that as my example. So if I click that, it searches for them and it's going to take a minute here. It shows a preview on the right from a different telescope of sort of a wide overview of the region. And then it comes up with all this stuff because these are very popular targets. Each one of those orange outlines on the right is showing you the outline of some image that's some instrument, some space, some telescope. And so this is a lot more than just Hubble, but lots of different telescopes have imaged these pair of galaxies. For the purposes of what I'm doing today, I want to focus on kind of optical images and I want to get something manageable. And so I happen to know that the instrument, if I go here on the left and I scroll down a little bit, I see a series of instrument names. And I kind of know what I'm looking for here. I'm looking for something with, it's called the WIFPIC 2 wide field camera or PC, or those are very similar. So I'm just going to highlight that to filter all the other ones out. And you can see now there's a lot less on this plot. And I can even zoom in here and I can say, some of them are sort of not actually on the galaxy itself. They're probably trying to look at its surroundings and see if there's anything interesting there. But I'm going to look here and I'm actually going to, there are a number of ways to explore this further, but actually since there's few enough here that I can just kind of select one of these by kind of moving my cursor to the edge of it. And I'm going to click on it and it's going to highlight a few of these observations. Actually highlighted a whole bunch. Let me see if I can deselect that one. Actually highlighted several things at once. But here, now you can see I've highlighted one set of observations in white. It's actually selected 80 of these things for me. I'm going to switch from list view to album view as a way of getting a little bit more of a preview of what those images look like and a little bit better of a description. And so I can see, as I scroll here, I can see several of these selected. And what I'm looking for to make a nice color image is I want 3 images that are basically from the same perspective. They're sort of centered all in the same thing, but they're using different filters. And so they see different sort of aspects of the galaxies here. So it looks like I've got a good shot at that. As I look down here, when it looks, it actually says filter. So I'm just looking for 3 different of those. So here I have an F336W, and then an F439W, an F555W. Here they've actually sort of pre-made a color image here out of a few different filters. That's kind of what we want to go for, but we want to do it ourselves and maybe get something that looks even nicer. And here's an 814W, and that's sort of a total light. And so we don't actually want that one if we can help it, but we've got 3 good ones here. So I'm going to go and try to unselect the other ones because there's like 10 things selected here, and I really just want the 3. I'm gonna take the 336, the 555, and this 814. I'm gonna try and deselect the others. Let me see if it's easier to do in list view. If I go to list view, I can kind of move over to the right here. Yes, and there's a header, there's a column here. So I want the first one, and I want the third one, and the fourth one, and there's, it's like there's 2. Sorry, this is the combo image. I want the first one, third one. That's the fourth one's actually the combo. It's got a comma there. and this F814. So I want first, third, and fifth. So I'm just going to try to deselect the others. I don't want to download more than I need. It'll just be confusing. Let me just go over here and just check here on the filters. Yep, this is what I want. F336W, F55W, F814W. They're all the same object. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to put these into a download. And so I think there are a couple ways to do this, but one way that works fairly well for me is I'm going to add these to a download basket. So I'm just going to click that. It's going to pop up a new window, tell me it's preparing files, whatever, okay. And here's what it's giving me a list of what it's actually going to download. It's going to put things in 3 different folders, one for each observation, and then each of those folders has a few different things in it, but mostly what I want is the images itself. And so there's other things in there, but those are just small files that sort of describe a few things. And I don't it's fine if they're there. It's going to be obvious what are my images. So I'm just going to select here to select all of these, and then I'm going to click download. Zip format is fine, so I'm going to click that, and then it'll think for a bit, but then I should get my files. And so here my window in my browser popped up. It said, what should I do with them? I'm just going to say save it. I'll mess with it later. I'm going to save that to my downloads folder, and then I have a zip file and I can open it and investigate the files. And so that'll be the next step. And so I'll continue on in my next video. Thanks.